You need to know about this chilling, unsolved mystery that has baffled investigators for over a century. On March 31, 1922, the entire Gruber family was brutally murdered at their remote Bavarian farm, Hinterkaifeck. But this wasn't just any ordinary crime. Strange events leading up to the murders, like footsteps in the attic, missing keys, and a mysterious figure lurking near the property, set the stage for this terrifying massacre. The killer may have even lived in the house, watching the family from above. Despite intense investigations and bizarre theories, from a jealous lover to an unknown drifter, the case remains unsolved to this day. Stick around as we unravel the dark secrets of the Hinterkaifeck murders and the enduring questions that still haunt this eerie tale. Hinterkaifeck Farm wasn't just any ordinary farmhouse. It was a secluded property nestled deep in the Bavarian countryside, surrounded by dense forests and sprawling fields. This isolation offered picturesque views, but also made the Gruber family vulnerable to lurking dangers. In early 1922, the Gruber family consisted of 63-year-old Andries Gruber, known for his domineering nature, his 72-year-old wife, Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, 35, and her two children, Joseph, age 2, and Cecilia, 9. They also employed a maid who had just returned after a 6-month break. Little did they know, their peaceful rural life was about to shatter into a nightmare. The Gruber family background. To grasp the chilling events at Hinterkaifeck, we must first explore the lives of the family who called it home. Cecilia Gruber inherited the farm after her first husband, Joseph, died in 1885. They had 4 children, but only Martin and Cecilia survived infancy. After Joseph's passing, Cecilia married Andries Gruber, a 27-year-old farmhand, in 1886, giving him a 50% stake in the farm. The couple had 3 children, but tragically, only their firstborn daughter, Victoria, lived beyond infancy. Rumors suggested that the 2 deceased children may have suffered from neglect or starvation, casting a shadow over Andries' character, though concrete evidence was never found. Andries, known for his abusive and antisocial nature, left his stepchildren Cecilia and Victoria behind. Victoria, who appeared well-adjusted, suffered from SA from 16 and had an incestuous relationship with her father. She married Carl Gabriel in 1914, but tensions escalated. Carl enlisted in the army to escape, and Victoria discovered she was pregnant. By December 1914, Carl was presumed dead, but Victoria gave birth to Zelia in 1915. In 1915, a live-in maid witnessed Andries assaulting Victoria and reported it to the authorities. Both Andries and Victoria were arrested, yet the police investigation fell shockingly short. They were convicted of incest, with Andries receiving a 1-year prison sentence and Victoria just 1 month. This scandal severely damaged the family's reputation. After serving her sentence, Victoria sought to escape her father by pursuing a relationship with Loren Schlittenbauer, who proposed marriage to her after his wife's death in 1918. Andries insisted they end their relationship before he would consent. Victoria announced she was pregnant with Loren's child, and Lorenz denied being the father. Andries demanded child support and legal guardianship of the child, which Lorenz agreed to. Tensions eased, and Lorenz remarried while life at Hinterkaifeck continued. Andries remained abusive towards Victoria, raising 2 children alone. In 1921, maid Crescens Riker witnessed a compromising situation between Andries and Victoria, leading her to quit after Victoria admitted she wouldn't have submitted if she knew Crescens was watching. Bizarre events leading up to the murders. In the weeks leading up to the tragic murders of the Gruber family, a series of bizarre events unsettled them. On March 25, Victoria Gabriel behaved unusually, suddenly running from the farmhouse and disappearing into the woods for hours. It was a cold day, still covered in snow, and upon her return, she confided to friends that she had seen a man in army gear near the farm who vanished when she approached him. Andries Gruber experienced strange occurrences in March 30th and 31st, including missing house keys and finding a missing Munich-based newspaper. He questioned his family and the postman, but no one knew how it got there. Upon inspecting the property, he found a broken shed lock and 2 sets of shoe prints in the snow leading from the woods to the house. This heightened his suspicion of an intruder. Lorenz offered him a gun for protection, but Andries declined. Neighbor Casper Stegman confirmed similar experiences. Andries returned home to find his cow escaped its pen and returned it. Later that night, the family was disturbed by sounds coming from the attic. Andries waited until dawn to investigate but found nothing unusual. The strange noises were only the start of a troubling series of events. Later, he and Victoria went into town to shop, where he expressed his concerns about the attic sounds, the escaped cow, and the mysterious footprints to the local hardware store staff. Upon returning home, they found that their new live-in maid, Maria Baumgartner, had just arrived with her sister, Franziska. After about an hour of helping Maria settle in, Franziska left as night fell. Before she departed, Maria chased after her to give her a hug, revealing her anxiety about the unfamiliar surroundings. The last days of the Gruber family. By April 1, 1922, concern began to grow around Hinterkaifeck Farm as the Gruber Gabriel family and their maid Maria were nowhere to be seen. Little Cecilia's absence from school that day was the first red flag. Later, 2 copy-selling brothers arrived to deliver an order placed by Victoria. They knocked and shouted for someone to open the door, but got no response. Through a window, they heard only the sound of a barking dog and some cows. The brothers also recalled passing 2 older women dressed like gypsies and a man who didn't seem to belong with them on their way to the farm. After being unable to make the delivery, the brothers notified Lorenz Schlittenbauer about the family's unusual silence. However, Lorenz's wife, Anna, forgot to pass on the message. That evening, a local man walking by noticed smoke rising from the farmhouse chimney, yet the eerie quiet around the property unnerved him. He glimpsed a figure holding a flashlight, which scared him enough to flee. The next day, April 2, the family's absence became even more worrisome when they failed to show up for church. Victoria, a regular choir member, was notably missing, heightening concerns. By April 3, postman Joseph Mayer noticed the kitchen door slightly open during his newspaper delivery, which was unusual. However, he thought little of it and continued on his way, unaware of the grim discovery waiting inside the farmhouse. The discovery of a massacre. On April 4, 1922, the bodies of the Gruber Gabriel family and their maid were tragically discovered. That morning, Albert Hoffner, a repairman, arrived at Hinterkaifeck Farm to fix a diesel engine. After knocking on the door and getting no response, he assumed the family was out and went to work. A few hours later, Albert returned to the farmhouse and noticed the dog barking agitatedly. The barn door, which had been closed earlier, was now wide open, further raising his suspicions. Unable to reach the family, he went to inform Lorenz Schlittenbauer about the strange situation. Lorenz sent his 16-year-old son and 9-year-old stepson to the farm, but they couldn't find anyone home either. They too returned to report their findings to Lorenz, who then gathered a group of locals, including Albert, and headed to Hinterkaifeck to investigate. After breaking in, they made a horrifying discovery. The bodies of Andreas, Cecilia, Victoria, Joseph, and Maria lay scattered throughout the main house and barn. In the barn, 4 bodies lay on the barn floor, each covered with straw and pieces of an old barn door. Andreas Gruber's body bore a massive gash on his head. Nearby, little Cecilia was found with similar wounds. Older Cecilia and Victoria Gabriel were also discovered, both women seemingly killed in the same exact way as little Cecilia and Andreas. Inside the main house, upstairs in Victoria's room, which she shared with her 2 children, they found baby Joseph dead in his cot. He had been killed in essentially the same manner as the others, and his little body had been partially covered by one of his mother's dresses. In the kitchen, everyone first saw some legs lying on the ground, then discovered an unknown woman nobody had seen before. This was Maria Baumgartner, the new live-in maid who had been in the home for less than a day before she was murdered. It was reported that Maria's luggage, which she had brought with her to the farm that day, was still sitting on the bed and hadn't even been unpacked. Investigation and theories. When the police investigated the murders at Hinterkaifeck Farm, they discovered that Lauren Schlittenbauer had already moved the bodies of little Cecilia and Andreas Gruber, leading officers to rely on eyewitness accounts. It was believed the killer lured family members to the barn, possibly using a loose cow as bait, and neighbors had reported strange noises from the attic prior to the murders. Upon inspection, police found evidence of someone living in the attic, including straw and food, suggesting the intruder had been spying on the family. Autopsies reveal the family was bludgeoned to death, likely with a pickaxe. Little Cecilia showed signs of having survived the initial attack, while the other victims, Andreas, elder Cecilia, Victoria, maid Maria, and baby Joseph, suffered brutal deaths. Victoria's wounds suggested strangulation, indicating a personal motive. The police even consulted a psychic who claimed there were two killers and that the murder weapon was hidden on the farm, but this lead went nowhere. The victims' heads were lost during a bombing in Nuremberg in 1944. Despite over 3,000 people attending the victim's funeral, the case remains unsolved, fueling various theories. Some suggest Lauren Schlittenbauer, in love with Victoria, committed the murders. Others blame an unidentified drifter or propose a village revenge plot against Andreas, known for being difficult. Some even speculate Victoria orchestrated the crime or that Andreas found gold on the property, attracting murder. However, no solid evidence has ever emerged to solve the case. Despite these theories, the investigation ultimately went cold, and the case remained unsolved for decades. The town of Hinterkaifeck still remembers the horror, with some locals even claiming to have seen the ghostly figures of the Gruber family haunting the property. The legacy of Hinterkaifeck. The Hinterkaifeck murders continue to intrigue and horrify people to this day. The case has been referenced in films, literature, and documentaries, solidifying its place in true crime history. Several documentaries, podcasts, and books have explored the mystery, often sensationalizing the events surrounding the murders. Many theories persist, but none have led to a conclusive resolution. The chilling and mysterious aura surrounding the Hinterkaifeck murders reminds us that some cases remain shrouded in darkness, leaving us with questions that may never be answered. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? Are there theories you believe are worth exploring further? Let us know.